You know, for years, we've all reached for that bright green head of broccoli, feeling good about putting something so healthy on our plates. We chop it up, maybe toss it in a pot of boiling water, cook it until it's tender, and serve it up. It feels like the right thing to do, doesn't it? But here's a little secret, a slightly uncomfortable truth about that common practice when you boil your broccoli like that. Especially for too long, you're actually washing away and destroying some of the very best parts of it. The compounds that give broccoli its incredible healing power. It's like buying a health insurance policy and then accidentally throwing away the benefits package before you even use it. It's a painful reality because we intend to do something good for ourselves. But unknowingly, our method is working against us. We think we're getting all the goodness, but a significant portion of those precious nutrients, those protective plant compounds that research has shown can help our bodies in so many ways as we get older, are left behind in the cooking water or simply broken down by the heat. We're left with the fiber and some vitamins, which are still good, of course, but we're missing out on each malter. The tench komelit salorche, on kofir, naikunonchin saldik. A nice powerful punch that broccoli is famous for. In this video, we're going to dive into exactly why boiling isn't the best approach and, more importantly, simple, easy ways you can cook broccoli to unlock its full potential. We'll look at methods that preserve those vital healing compounds and even some clever tricks to boost their effectiveness. We're talking about getting the absolute most out of every single bite of that healthy vegetable. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. Let's start by really understanding what happens when we toss broccoli into a pot of boiling water. Broccoli is packed with amazing things, including something called glucosinolates. Now, that's a bit of a technical word, but think of them as the raw ingredients for broccoli's superpower. When you chop or chew raw broccoli, you release an enzyme called myrosinase. This enzyme acts like a key that unlocks the glucosinolates, transforming them into incredibly beneficial compounds. The most famous of which is called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is what gives broccoli its pungent, slightly bitter taste, and it's the superstar compound linked to so many of its health benefits. Think support for detoxification pathways in your body, helping with inflammation, and much more. It's potent stuff. Now, here's the crucial part. Both the glucosinolates and the myrosinase enzyme are sensitive to heat, especially high heat combined with water. When you drop broccoli into boiling water, two things happen. First, many of those water-soluble glucosinolates start leaching out of the broccoli and into the cooking water. If you drain that water, you're pouring those potential benefits straight down the sink. Second, and perhaps even more importantly, the high heat of boiling water rapidly destroys the myrosinase enzyme. Remember, that enzyme is the key that turns the raw ingredient glucosinolates into the active, beneficial compound sulforaphane. If the key is destroyed, the lock can't be opened, and you're left with the raw ingredients that your body can't easily convert into the protective powerhouses you want. So, even if some glucosinolates remain in the boiled broccoli, without that enzyme, you get very little sulforaphane formed. You've essentially disarmed the broccoli before it even gets to your plate. So, what are the better ways? Let's talk about cooking methods that are much gentler and more respectful of broccoli's natural power. The first one, and probably the best in terms of nutrient retention, is steaming. Steaming uses hot vapor to cook the broccoli. Rather than immersing it directly in water, this means less leaching of water-soluble nutrients. More importantly, while steaming does involve heat, the temperature is generally lower and the cooking time can be shorter than boiling, which helps to preserve more of that crucial myrosinase enzyme. How do you steam broccoli properly? It's really quite simple. You just need a pot with a lid and a steamer basket or insert. Put an inch or two of water in the bottom of the pot, enough so it doesn't boil dry, but not so much that it touches the bottom of the steamer basket. Bring the water to a boil. Then place your broccoli florets and chopped stem pieces. We'll talk more about those later in the steamer basket. Cover the pot tightly and let it steam for just 5 to 7 minutes, or until the broccoli is tender crisp, still bright green, and easily pierced with a fork, but not mushy. The goal is tender, not soft. this short. Gentle cooking allows the broccoli to become palatable while preserving a significant amount of its beneficial compounds and enzymes. You'll notice the color stays vibrant, which is often a good sign that nutrients haven't been completely cooked away. Another excellent method is roasting or stir-frying sans sautéing, but with a focus on light cooking. When you roast broccoli, you toss it with a little bit of oil and seasonings and put it in a hot oven. The dry heat caramelizes the edges, giving it a wonderful flavor and texture. Since it's not submerged in water, there's no leaching. The key here is not to overcook it into oblivion. Roasting at a moderate temperature like 400 degrees or 200 degrees for maybe 15-20 minutes, just until tender and slightly browned, is ideal. Similarly, stir-frying or sautéing involves cooking in a pan with a small amount of oil over medium-high heat. Again, the dry heat is beneficial. Chop the broccoli into smaller pieces so it cooks quickly, and stir-fry for just a few minutes until it's tender crisp. Don't crowd the pan, or it will steam rather than sauté. So, with both roasting and sautéing, you're not losing nutrients to water. And while some myrosinase will still be affected by the heat, these methods are generally less destructive than prolonged boiling. Plus, the little bit of healthy fat you use in roasting or sautéing can actually help your body absorb some of the fat-soluble vitamins present in broccoli. But here's a really clever tip that applies to any cooking method you choose. Even if you decide to lightly blanch or cook it briefly, remember that myrosinase enzyme. It gets activated when the broccoli cell walls are broken, like when you chop it. Research has shown that if you chop your broccoli and then let it sit for about 40 minutes before you cook it, you give that enzyme time to get to work and start converting the glucosinolates into sulforaphane before. Heat has a chance to destroy the enzyme. It's like giving it a head start. So, the simple act of chopping your broccoli florets and letting them sit on the cutting board for 30 to 40 minutes while you prepare the rest of your meal can dramatically increase the sulforaphane potential. Even if you then lightly steam or sauté it, this pre-chopping rest period is a simple, almost effortless step that makes a big difference in maximizing those powerful compounds. So, moving away from the boil isn't just about texture. It's fundamentally about preserving and activating the very compounds that make broccoli such a health champion, especially as we age. Steaming until tender crisp, roasting lightly, or quick sautéing are fantastic alternatives. And remember that simple trick of chopping and letting it rest before applying heat. It's these small adjustments in how we handle this everyday vegetable that can unlock so much more of its innate healing power. Now that we've explored better ways to cook broccoli and the importance of preparing it first, let's look at how we can supercharge its effects even further. Now that we know how to cook broccoli better to preserve its own enzymes and compounds, let's talk about taking things a step further. Did you know you can actually boost the sulforaphane production even more? Especially if you didn't give the broccoli the full rest period after chopping. Or if you're concerned some myrosinase might have been lost during cooking. This is where it gets really interesting and surprisingly easy. The key is to bring in an outside source of the myrosinase enzyme. While broccoli has its own, other plants in the same family, like mustard seeds, radishes, and other cruciferous vegetables, are also rich in myrosinase. So, how do you use this to your advantage? It's incredibly simple. After you've cooked your broccoli using a gentler method like steaming or roasting, you can add a tiny bit of something containing myrosinase right before you eat it or right after cooking while it's still warm. The easiest way to do this is with a sprinkle of plain ground mustard powder. Just a quarter or half a teaspoon sprinkled over your cooked broccoli after it comes off the heat, or even whisked into a dressing you put on it, can provide the enzyme needed to activate any remaining glucosinolates that didn't get converted during the pre-chopping rest or cooking. The heat-sensitive myrosinase from the mustard powder hasn't been exposed to high heat, so it's still active and can go to work in your stomach and digestive tract. Continuing the conversion process, it's like adding a backup key to unlock even more goodness. Think about adding a sprinkle of mustard powder to your steamed broccoli before you serve it. Or whisk a pinch into a simple lemon vinaigrette for roasted broccoli. Even adding a few finely chopped raw radishes or a small amount of raw shredded cabbage, also cruciferous and enzyme-rich, to a warm broccoli salad can help. It's a brilliant little trick to maximize the benefits. ensuring you're getting the most bang for your buck from this superfood. This is especially helpful if you bought pre-chopped broccoli, where the enzyme might have degraded over time, or if you accidentally overcooked it a little. Another thing to consider is eating broccoli raw. Yes, raw broccoli. While the texture can be a bit challenging for some, especially as we get older, eating raw broccoli florets or shredded broccoli slaw ensures that the myrosinase enzyme is completely intact and fully active when you chew it. This leads to maximum sulforaphane production right there in your mouth and stomach, if your digestion can handle it. Incorporating some raw broccoli into salads or as a crunchy snack with a healthy dip is a fantastic way to get the absolute peak levels of these compounds. If raw is too tough, very lightly blanching it for just 30-60 seconds in boiling water and then immediately plunging it into ice water. This is called shocking. Can soften it slightly while preserving much of the enzyme activity. It's a middle ground between raw and fully cooked. And don't forget the often discarded parts. The stem of the broccoli is just as nutritious as the florets, if not more so in some aspects, and it also contains those valuable compounds and enzymes. Don't throw it away. Peel the tough outer layer of the stem with a vegetable peeler, and then slice or chop the tender inner part. It can be cooked right along with the florets when steaming or roasting. The leaves attach to the head. Also edible and nutritious, they can be roughly chopped and added to stir fries or soups. Using the whole vegetable means less waste and more nutrients for you. Think about storing your broccoli correctly too. It stays freshest and retains its nutrients best when stored in the refrigerator in a loosely wrapped bag or perforated bag that allows for some air circulation but retains moisture. Washing it right before you're about to use it, rather than in advance, also helps prevent spoilage and nutrient loss. Simple steps like proper storage ensure that when you do get around to cooking it the right way, it's still packed with potential. So, to truly get the healing power from your broccoli, it's not just about eating it. It's about how you prepare it and how you cook it. Avoiding prolonged boiling, opting for steaming or light roasting, letting it rest after chopping, potentially adding a sprinkle of mustard powder after cooking, and using the whole plant. These are all simple, actionable steps that can make a profound difference in the amount of beneficial compounds your body can actually access and use. It's about treating this powerful vegetable with a little extra care to unlock its full potential. Next, we'll tie all this together and reveal that little something extra I promised you at the beginning. All right, so we've taken a journey with our humble head of broccoli. We've seen how that common habit of boiling it might be doing us a disservice, pouring valuable healing power down the drain. We've talked about why this happens, the loss of water-soluble nutrients, and the destruction of that crucial myrosinase enzyme needed to activate those powerful glucosinolates into superstar sulforaphane. But the good news, the truly wonderful part, is how easy it is to fix. We discovered that gentle methods like steaming, just until the broccoli is tender crisp and still bright green, are far superior. Steaming keeps those nutrients in the broccoli and is kinder to the enzymes. We also learned that roasting or lightly sautéing are great alternatives, offering different textures and flavors while avoiding the nutrient leaching issue of boiling. The key with these dry heat methods is still to avoid turning the broccoli into mush. Aim for tender, not soft. And then we uncovered those simple, clever tricks. The first is the power of patience, simply chopping your broccoli and letting it sit for 30 to 40 minutes before you cook it. That little rest period gives the broccoli's own enzymes time to start creating sulforaphane before the heat can stop them in their tracks. It's such a small change in routine, but it has a big impact on the final health punch of your meal. We also talked about the amazing trick of adding a little boost after cooking. Remember adding that tiny sprinkle of plain ground mustard powder, or perhaps some finely chopped raw radish or cabbage that brings in fresh, active myrosinase from an outside source, ready to finish the job of converting any remaining glucosinolates into sulforaphane in your digestive system. It's like adding a finishing touch that multiplies the benefits. And let's not forget using the whole vegetable. The stems and even the leaves are perfectly edible and nutritious. Peeling and chopping the stem adds more bulk, fiber, and nutrients to your meal, reducing waste and increasing the goodness you get. Putting it all together. You see, it's not about drastic diets or complicated supplements. It's about mindful preparation of the simple, powerful foods we already have. It's about understanding a little bit about how these foods work and treating them in a way that respects their natural design, by switching from boiling to steaming or light roasting, by taking a few minutes to let your chopped broccoli sit, and maybe adding a little mustard helper. You are dramatically increasing the amount of sulforaphane, that potent compound linked to so many health benefits like supporting your body's natural detox systems and fighting inflammation, that you get from every serving. The surprising thing I wanted to share with you is how easy it is to unlock so much more power from something you're likely already eating. You don't need special equipment beyond a pot and a steamer basket you might already have. You don't need expensive ingredients. Mustard powder is incredibly cheap and lasts forever. You just need a few extra minutes and a little bit of know-how. The real surprise is that you might have been missing out on a significant portion of broccoli's renowned benefits simply due to a common cooking habit, and that the solution is so incredibly simple and accessible. It puts the power back in your hands. Or rather, back in your kitchen. Making these small adjustments to how you handle broccoli is an investment in your health and well-being. It's about getting the most value from the healthy choices you're already making. Remember, small changes really can make a big difference to your health and happiness, especially as we navigate life after 60. Getting the most from nutrient-dense foods like broccoli supports your body's natural defenses and helps you feel your best. I hope this has opened your eyes to the incredible potential hidden in your broccoli and given you some simple, practical ways to unlock it. I'd love to hear how you like to cook your broccoli now. Are you going to try steaming? Will you remember the chopping and resting trick? Let me know in the comments below. Your experiences and ideas can help others in our community. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos packed with simple tips and secrets for living a vibrant, healthy life at every age. Thank you so much for watching. Live your best life at every age.